episode 4 of the Collectania of Everything. I nearly forgot our name. It's been exactly a month since we last recorded.
Excuse me, I got a little bit of a cough. Oh man,
we got to talk about how you went for a COVID test last week.
Yeah.
The cough still remains.
Yep. That's all clear though. Don't worry.
Yeah. I can't believe it. I literally cannot believe it's been a month since we last did it though. We did talk about we'll try to do it every couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, I think we told everyone at the beginning that we probably wouldn't be able to keep to a routine, and we're just going to do it whenever.
We proved ourselves right.
As long as it's. Sorry, man. I haven't been coughing for ages, and suddenly, as soon as
the recording starts,
get it all out now. Okay. No, as long as it's within 4 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Has it been within 4 weeks?
It's been it's the 3rd of February to the 3rd of March. It's more than 4 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
But we're back.
Oh my goodness. I just see the...
Have a drink. Oh, yeah. Drink check. I've got sparkling water, raspberry and lemon flavoured. Really, really, really nice.
I got tea.
I'm not a weirdo just drinking sparkling water. I'm doing our work's doing a well-being challenge. We eat 75 days. We've got to exercise twice a day, eat real healthy, drink healthy, not have any alcohol or junk food. So water's my life now. Sparkling water makes water just a bit better.
Just a little bit better.
A little bit better. A little bit of raspberry and lemon in there.
Okay. Well,
I'm the host, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we? Yeah. So we.
Did I introduce myself? Do I have to introduce myself?
Did I introduce myself?
I don't know.
I think we're part. If people are listening to it, this might be people's first episode.
Oh, I hope not. With me coughing. Oh my goodness.
I've cut them all out.
Okay.
No, I won't.
Yeah, I'm the tail end of a cold, and it's basically nothing except for a little cough.
We put off.
Sometimes clogs up my throat a little bit.
We did mean to do podcasts the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
but it's because Hamish was so sick.
Yeah. What was the reason before that?
I feel like we've tried to do it a few times, but it's just life's got in the way.
My goodness, I feel like I'm making heaps of disgusting noises at the moment.
It's all good. People are used to it.
They shouldn't have to be. Yeah. What's going on?
It's been a month, right? I mean,
I don't know.
So much has gone on, but it's just life's just crazy hectic at the moment.
What did we talk
for some
about
reason.
last time?
Last episode,
I remember just now, actually.
We talked about brushes with celebrities or fanboy moments.
Yeah.
We found out your mum was a super famous actress.
Yeah.
Did you ever touch base with her after recording the episode?
No.
We should have her on for an interview sometime.
Yeah, we should.
There we go. We can go watch Godzilla vs. Kong and then talk to her about King Kong. Done.
Yeah, see what her opinion is on the direction that's headed since...
How it's changed since Peter Jackson's vision.
Yeah.
Have you watched... Game update. First episode we talked about playing Sea of Thieves potentially, and we played Sea of Thieves for the first time since talking about that last night.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yep.
Any other games you've been playing since then?
Yeah.
I got a Nintendo Switch, and we've been playing Stardew Valley.
Yep. I've been playing as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
You and your wife, Abby.
Yep.
You guys are way further than me.
I'm year 2.
I'm year 1. I'm full year 1.
Full year 2.
What do you have? I just got some chickens for my coop.
I have chickens. I have 2 cows. I have silo.
And you're married, right?
Yes.
I'm still trying to woo Haley, but yeah. Stardew Valley talk.
I'm level 100 in the mines.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're kidding me?
No,
We talked the other night and you were like...
Yeah, I boosted ahead.
Man.
I've now got the obsidian sword.
Really?
Yeah.
It's got the iron
epic.
one.
It's pretty epic.
Oh, man.
You found the secret forest yet? I think it's secret forest.
No, is that across the bridge?
No, there's a log you have to chop through. A log of hardwood.
Yeah, I can't even chop down. I can't even chop down hardwood.
You gotta get a steel axe for that. A copper one might work, but I'm pretty sure it's steel you have to use.
I think that's right. I've been loving my Switch. We the new Monster Hunter game comes out later this month, which
Yeah.
we've been pumped for.
Yeah.
I think we talked about playing Monster Hunter in the first episode back in the day at school, going to the library.
Yep.
So it's going to come full circle. We're going to play the new one coming out on our Switches.
Yeah, it came out on Xbox, the Monster Hunter World, and so we ditched our PlayStation Portables,
Yeah.
went on to the Xbox, and now we're going to the Nintendo Switch,
Going
which
to
is
the
basically a glorified Game Boy.
Yeah.
So we're
Where
going
are we
right
going
back.
next?
We're going right back.
Yeah. Portable device. Let's go. What else have we been doing?
I feel like we'll probably upset a lot of people by calling the Switch a glorified Game Boy.
You're the biggest Nintendo fan here, and you said
Yeah,
it. So
but
I mean,
Nintendo makes really good portable devices.
yeah,
Their consoles are a bit meh.
yeah,
Their Game Boys are really good.
yeah, yeah. I never had a Game Boy. I
Did
played
you?
Game Boy games on my Nintendo DS. So that was good.
Isn't that? I just call them like Game Boys, all handhelds. I'm used to calling them all Game Boys.
Yeah, but there was official. It was like Game
Is that
Boy,
not
Game Boy
what,
Color,
like-
Game Boy
Yeah,
Advance.
yeah, and that's
DS.
why. That's why.
Yeah,
I
so
call
many
them.
Game Boys. It's just
I just
They never
because
stop.
like the first one I had was a Game Boy Color,
yeah,
which was old when I got it.
yeah.
Obviously, I'm not that old.
How do you play multiplayer?
Actually,
with
when
those
did the
things?
Game Boy Color come out?
It was 90s, right?
What?
It was 90s.
I
must
feel
be.
like it was.
How did you play? To play multiplayer, you had to like link a cable
I
between
never
the two
played
of you, eh?
multiplayer. I was
just-
I was
yeah,
just
yeah.
a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I feel like to me that seems normal calling any handheld device a Game Boy,
Boys.
at least if it's a Nintendo.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's just me.
I think
or
it's
not.
just you.
It's just
Yeah.
me. I've gone my whole life doing that.
Man.
Like the
I've-
DS, I would call.
I've called them DSs pretty much, just because I. never
Yeah.
had
Well,
a Game
it's
Boy.
because we went.
What does DS
I think
stand
it
for?
was-
Is it digital system?
I don't know.
Random.
I really don't know.
What does Wii stand for?
I don't know.
Does it stand for anything? Or does-
For fun, I suppose.
yeah, Wii just screams fun.
No, but I think it would just be because I got a Game Boy Color, and then I got the Game Boy Advance, and I had the Game Boy Advance
Yeah.
for so long, and so I think it's just
Yeah.
habit now. I just call everything Game Boy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's not what we were meant to be talking about.
No, we had our topic, as rolled last time, was the age-old debate between myself and yourself about what is better,
Star Trek or
Stargate. Yeah,
Hmm.
and this kind of came to a head when we went to see the Lord of the Rings trilogy at the movies back to back.
Did it?
Yeah,
Is that when it came up?
and I remember the car ride home. Just the whole 2 hours, we were like talking about Star Trek versus Stargate.
I don't remember this.
You don't?
No, I remember back in school.
Maybe it's just
Being
been
a
as long
huge-
as we've known each other, to
I
be
think
honest.
it has been. Because I remember back in school, you being a huge Star Trek nerd, and me being like, what the heck, that stuff's crap, and trying to push you towards Stargate.
And then we had a friend who
was
watched both,
yeah.
but then she was like, "Oh, Star Trek's better."
Yeah.
So, how are we going to do this? Because we could debate, but I
She
don't
did
think.
like Stargate, though.
yeah,
just saying.
yeah. We should have got her on as a guest. No. As a middle point, as a. How are we going to? Well, I don't know. Did you want to go first to talk about what Stargate and why you like it so much? And
Well,
what
I
it
don't
is?
know. I feel like it's easier for me to say why it's better than Star Trek.
To be honest, you got to realize
then,
that
I don't know.
both of us have not watched like.
I've watched more Star Trek than
That
you've
I've watched Stargate.
Stargate.
I've watched the original Stargate movie. I realize it's the 90s, I think. I thought it was like 70s or 80s, but I think it's 90s, early 90s.
I think it might be late 80s, but maybe.
Let's do a little fact check. But I remember liking it, to be honest.
I'm just going to apologize again. I'm sorry.
I'll just copy that sorry in every cough. I'll just...
Yeah, so I don't have to say it anymore.
No,
I'm just going to apologize again. I'm sorry.
done. There you go.
Yeah.
That was seamless. Stargate movie, 1994.
Ooh. So
I-
Stargate isn't actually that old.
No, and that was the first piece of Stargate content, right?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah. Because I watched that. I just thought it was to be honest, growing up, I never knew about the series. I just was like, hey, Stargate's this old movie that my dad liked, that he showed me, and I liked it. And one of my favorite actors from the 80s, 90s is Kurt Russell, who played Don't even know anyone's name in Stargate, but he played a guy, and I thought he was cool.
Like, I watched the movie, but I didn't really care for it that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rewatch it. It's not a terrible movie.
Yeah.
But the shows, like, was where I really got hooked. And I will admit, the first, like, 5 or so seasons of Stargate SG-1 are pretty
And that's the
great.
first series after the movie.
Yeah.
I never understood this, but does it carry on straight after the movie, or is it, like, redone?
I've got to sort of rack my brain here, but I think I'm pretty sure it continues after the movie.
But they've just
I
changed
feel like
actors
they've
and-
changed some stuff. Yeah.
Because Kurt Russell isn't in it,
it's
right?
exactly it's straight after the movie.
Yeah.
No, I remember because didn't one of the people in the movie, one of the scientists, decide to stay?
That's the one thing I remember. Yeah.
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 So that happens in the show. They get that guy. I think it's a different actor. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Because Kurt Russell's not in it. He's.
No,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's not.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe he does a cameo. I don't know. But anyway, I'm really bad with names, so I'm going to admit here, I know the name. There's no face to that name. I don't know who that is.
We learnt that from the last episode.
So, as far as I know, he isn't in it.
We had people reply to us on Twitter, having us up on our butchering of the names we mentioned of.
Really? Whose names?
I think it was one of the Stargate guys.
Really?
I can't remember.
No, I did apologize.
Yeah,
for
no,
that
yeah. I think it was more a joke.
The thing
they
is,
were
like,
making fun.
I often will be like, I know that actor because I recognize their face, and I'm like, they're in this. I really love like their stuff. I love all their, love that character they played. I really like them, and I won't care to look up their name.
No, you just know where you've seen them from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if I do, I try to remember their name. I won't remember it well enough to actually be able to use it in conversation. So
Yeah.
to seem like I know it, like what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It'll be like after the conversation. I'll be like, that's the guy. But yeah, what was I saying? So that guy, the scientist, he comes back.
Yeah.
They bring him back. They managed to bring him back in like the first episode or two.
Yeah.
So.
And you said the first couple seasons aren't great.
I think they're important.
Yeah.
Definitely important to watch, but their budgets doesn't seem the best, and I don't know. It's pretty hard. It can be hard to watch.
Yeah.
But it just gets better and better.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I'm disappointed I didn't watch it.
I'm disappointed you didn't watch it.
I remember
as well.
you saying it was awesome back when we were like young at school, and I started watching the first episode, and there was like nudity in it or something. It might have just been for a second. But me and my young mind, I was like, nah, dodgy show, I can't watch this. And I just never went any further.
I watched it pretty young. I wasn't allowed to watch the first episode.
Really?
I think this is probably why I watched it and got really into it, is because I think basically, like, majority of the first season, I missed out on. I used to love watching stuff.
Yeah.
So if I was halfway through a season, like, like my older brother or something was halfway through a season of something, and I was allowed to sit in and watch, I would sit in and watch, and I would enjoy it from that point on. So I'm pretty sure majority of the first season, I missed out on my first watching of Stargate.
That's funny, yes.
So I went back and rewatched it a lot later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, you realised how kind of lame it was compared to the other stuff. Yeah.
Because of, like, you end, I think it's like season 10 or something.
Yeah.
And then you go right back, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah. I do remember, because I watched the movie, I watched the part of that first episode. The only other thing, I haven't got a leg to stand on in this debate, to be honest. The only other thing I watched a time loop episode.
Because I told you.
Because you showed me it, I think, or told me to, yeah.
I told you to watch it.
And that was pretty good.
That's because you were doing a project in English?
No, for video and TV, me and my friend were just like, hey, let's make a time loop movie.
Yeah, and you were trying to get inspiration.
Yeah, and there was a cool X-Files episode called Monday, which is a time loop. I love that.
Yeah.
And there's a Lost episode, which is a time loop. Everything does it.
There's Happy Death
Lost
Day.
was good. It's happy. We saw that together, right?
Yeah.
Happy Death Day. It's Happy Death Day does it. Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. And then you could show me that, and that was pretty cool.
They made 2 Happy Death Days. You know that?
We never saw the second one, Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think I'll bother.
I think I will either.
I mean, it wasn't a terrible movie.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was okay. I just want to go out of my way.
I don't think it did.
Watching
Wanted a second one.
Oh, yeah,
I think we got the idea.
Time loops.
Yeah.
Teenagers. Done.
Murder.
I remember one thing about the time of Berserk, and it was about them shooting a golf ball, playing golf through the Stargate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I remember.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, it's because time loops work.
Yeah.
It was like only a few of the people remembered that they were going through a time, like could remember previous time loops.
Yeah.
And so they realized that nothing mattered, and they were just going to keep reliving it over and over again. So they did heaps of crazy stuff, and it was a really funny episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think one of my first arguments would probably be that it is old, but it is not too old to not be able to watch. Whereas if you want to get into Star Trek, you got to go way back.
Back to the 60s.
It is difficult. You watch the sci-fi show from the 60s, it's terrible. I've tried watching Star Trek.
I agree with you.
I'm not able to watch it.
Yeah. Fair play. Now
I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that because there's a lot of diehard fans.
I'm a diehard Trekkie dude. Yeah, I agree with you. The only reason I think when I first watched Star Trek, I was 9. I didn't watch any of the series, and I watched the new movie that came out with the reboot cast. I went to the movies with my dad.
Which movie is that?
Star Trek, the first Star Trek movie, the new one of the new trilogy was
Really? That's the first one you
That's
watched?
the first Star Trek thing I watched.
I feel like I'm more of an old...
You probably are.
My goodness. Okay.
I think it's the first thing I watched.
Because that's not the first part of Star Trek I watched.
Yeah, well, but that was the first thing I watched, and I was so engrossed in the movie. There's like an end scene when they're like celebrating Kirk who did something crazy, and everyone's like clapping, and I just started clapping absent-mindedly in the theater, like really loudly, and I was like so into it, and my dad like looked over and he was like, "Hey, you're clapping," and I don't know, I really liked the movie. After that, I think that's when I watched the original series, 3 seasons. Real old school, cheesiest, campiest sci-fi you can think of, slow motion, battle scenes, all that stuff. But I just binged that with my brother, like on a school holiday at my grandparents' place. We just went to the spare room, would watch old school Star Trek, and I just loved it. I think I really loved just the world, how every episode was a different adventure and different aliens and different stories, completely different. And I guess that kind of just, I don't know, I kind of liked that. It was just new. It's going when no one's gone before. I'd never watched a show that was kind of like that.
Yeah. Just realised I've been answering with nods and it's not helpful.
Yeah. But you've watched Star Trek before? Would have watched the original series growing up? Or?
No, I didn't. The thing is I haven't... As far as the TV show goes, I am not that experienced with it. But I watched a lot of... Well, not a lot. I've watched basically...
All the older movies.
No, it was more, I started with, what's it called?
Next Generation.
No, it was a movie.
Voyager.
It was a movie. My memory tells me I've watched 2 old Star Trek movies, but one of them might have actually been another...
The motion picture?
It might have been like a, I don't know, Battlestar Galactica or something.
Yeah, well, I get that mixed up with Stargate, to be honest.
So I'm not sure, but I do know that at least one of them was a Star Trek, and it was.
There's the motion picture, The Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock.
This is newer.
Voyage Home.
It's like the newest movie before
Undiscovered
the
Country.
Most new ones.
Nemesis.
Yeah, it was Nemesis. That's
you watched
right.
Nemesis? Oh, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, it's the one where he has a clone, eh? And
Yeah.
it's got
It's played by
the
Tom
actor's
Hardy.
name. Yeah, Tom Hardy. There
when he
we
was
go.
young.
Yeah.
I bet you to it. I should have just waited to see how long it would take.
Yeah, you should have. That's
One of the first Star Trek things you watched.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That as far as I know, that's the first one I watched.
Yeah.
Possibly another one before that, but I don't have any memory of what it was exactly. That is a good movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Star Trek movie, or anything that I've watched of Star
Have you
Trek.
seen majority of the older Star Trek movies? They're like 10 that they made.
No.
They're good.
So, since then,
real
I've
good.
watched the newest trilogy.
Yeah.
And I've watched I've tried to watch old Star Trek shows.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen, I don't
Yeah.
think.
Fair enough.
And I have watched the new Star Trek on Netflix.
That's what I want to talk about, guys.
Which I've watched like a season and a half of.
Yeah.
And I've kind of given up on it a little bit.
Exact same thing I did. Okay, so I watched the original series after coming off the movie, and I loved it when I was young, and I think that's why it's so nostalgic to me. Then I watched all the movies, and they blew me away. They're still some of my favorite sci-fi movies, just because they're all different, but they're all real contained with this crew. Then The Next Generation, which is a new crew. It's got Picard, who's Patrick Stewart, bald guy. You'd probably know him as Professor X.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's what I would recommend as the starting point for anyone wanting to get into Star Trek, because that's a lot more, not as campy, but still fun, but it has a cool story over the whole course of it. I still haven't watched the whole thing, but I want to. Then there's a series after that called Deep Space Nine, which is about a group of people on a space station instead of a ship, so they're always on the same space station. It's about people visiting, which is real cool as well. Then there's Voyager, which is another real cool one.
Have you watched all of these?
Only bits and pieces.
Okay.
I want to. They're all on Netflix, so I want to watch through them. The original series, all the movies, and a bit of Next Generation is all I've watched. I've watched, I think, a season of Deep Space Nine, season of Voyager. I never watched Enterprise, which was a series that they made in the early 2000s. I think it was around the time Stargate was being made. Never watched that. But recently, Stargate Discovery came out on Netflix. I thought it'd be an awesome time to revisit Star Trek. But it doesn't hold up. I feel like they've changed it all. They've made it a bit too like PC.
Yeah.
And
well,
it's just not as fun. Everything's just so like, I wouldn't say darker, but everything's just not, it doesn't have that same spirit. It doesn't have the same campiness that I like from the older ones, I think.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about that show.
I don't think it's
part
good.
of me wants to watch it when I watch it, but then I don't know. I try and I don't know. There's just a general feeling about the show that I'm just like, this isn't really that good of a show.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like I'm wasting my time.
Totally. It's the same thing
But
I felt.
it's just good enough for you to be able to convince yourself to try and watch it again. You know?
I think it's because
I don't know. I'm pretty harsh when it comes to, like, if I don't like something, I often
just
stop, and I can't put any time into it. And I don't know. I can be overly harsh in that way. But I don't know. I do feel like it has lost. There is something missing there, and I also feel like there is also there is like it's I guess my general, if I was to really try and pin on something, just pick out something to tell you bad about that specific show, I'd say that it's trying to be really serious and trying to be really like cool.
But that's not really what Star Trek is.
But then it also at the same time is very cringy and kind of lame.
Yeah.
And because it's and that's typical of like a sci-fi show. Often they can be a little bit cringy at times and they can be a little bit lame, but
it's like it thinks it's a real serious thing when it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
agree with you. It just felt, I mean, with all the different series Star Trek has done, it's all kind of a mix and match.
Yeah.
Pick and choose what one you want to watch, and some people prefer the campiness of the first one. Some people prefer the story-driven second series or the political of the third. But this kind of just seems to not be its own thing, kind of. I don't know. This is like a rehash of every other sci-fi thing I've seen before, where Star Trek's always kind of been in the past doing something that's never been done.
Yeah.
Whereas this is, everything's already been done.
Now, if I was to talk about Stargate...
Yeah.
Now, I will say that my favorite, I have watched through all of Stargate SG-1.
Yeah.
And I've watched through all of Stargate Atlantis. I haven't watched Stargate Universe.
And those are the three series,
I don't care to watch Stargate Universe.
Yeah.
I've heard only bad things of Stargate Universe. And I might watch it one day, but I don't know. It's just, it was bad from what I've been told. And it's probably the reason why we don't have any Stargate stuff going on forward. I haven't watched all of the movies, as far as I know. I'm pretty sure there are movies.
Is there more movies than that original
one? I I'm pretty sure between some of the seasons there are some short movies.
Yeah.
As far as I know, and I don't think I've watched them. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure there are a couple short
I'll look it
movies.
up because that's interesting. I never knew that. There is flip. Stargate: The Arc of Truth, Stargate Continuum. What are all these?
I don't think you have to watch them, but because I didn't, and I didn't barely even notice. But I think there were a couple, possibly one or two references you might not get if you don't watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, my reasoning for why the show is so good is because, for one thing, they don't build 10 or 11 or however many seasons there are. And could you actually look up how many seasons there are in it? Because
Yeah,
I've
let's do it.
forgotten. I'm pretty sure
Of
there's about
SG-1?
10. Yeah. They don't just build up this huge, long, like, show that's incredibly long and hard to watch. Not hard to watch. Hard to watch at the start.
10.
Yeah. Okay. So they don't they don't just build this and just drop you and make another completely different show that has nothing to do, or like you can watch them separate. You could watch Atlantis and then you can watch
Yeah.
SG-1, but they're in the same they're in the same universe, different galaxies, but there's a lot of crossover stuff.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of, like, you watch through SG-1 and then you watch Atlantis, you'll be rewarded for watching SG-1 after that. Because there are characters swapped around. At one point, one of the main characters from Stargate SG-1 becomes like the boss in Stargate Atlantis at one point, and it's like really cool. But you probably wouldn't care so much if you hadn't watched SG-1.
Yeah.
I prefer, if I was to say which was my favorite, I'd say
If
Atlantis.
someone wanted to jump in, would you say Atlantis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably say, yeah, if someone
Yeah.
wanted to, it is my favorite, and it's the thing is that the thing I really like about that, I think, compared to other sci-fi shows, is that, well, compared to Star Trek, because that's what we're comparing.
Yeah.
Is that it's it can be serious, it can be almost not disturbing, but it can be quite dark sometimes, and it can seem
Bit of horror elements.
a little bit.
Yeah.
It can be creepy. Creepy's a better word. It can have quite creepy elements to it, but then at the same time, it is able to add in a lot of humor. It doesn't take itself too seriously. There are literally episodes where it almost feels like they're breaking the fourth wall and they're making fun of themselves.
Yeah.
Especially in SG-1.
Yeah.
Not so much in Atlantis, but and it doesn't take it away from anything. It doesn't make you feel like it's less serious or like you can still be immersed in it and still find it. But every now and again, like they will have a lighthearted episode where it is funny, it is more humorous,
Yeah.
and you can tell they're like they realize that some of this is pretty corny.
Yeah.
Like they've had an episode where there was a person who was a writer, I believe, if I remember correctly, he was an alien, but he lost his memory, and he was writing a TV show and became a writer on Earth. And he was writing basically Stargate
Yeah.
SG-1 as a TV show, and it started being broadcasted and stuff, and like producers and stuff were producing it, and it became a show, like a proper show. I think it was like Wormhole Extreme is what it was called, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And like it was really funny because you could tell like the characters in there were very they're similar to the
Caricatures of.
yeah. And it was a whole episode about that, and it was like really funny, because you could tell that they were just making fun of themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, the villains are definitely creepy. There is a whole there's a purpose of the whole show. They discover this wormhole. They go out and it's exploring. They can go, as long as they've got combination for a planet, they can go any planet that has a Stargate. There's heaps of them all over the place, and it's about them trying to discover and figure out who's put them there and why and that sort of stuff. And then they uncover this whole alien race that seems to be enslaving people, and they're really evil. And they did a good job with like parasites, because that's what the villains are. They're parasites that take over like the little snake things that climb
Yeah.
inside you, wrap around your spine and control you and give you everlasting life, basically. Well, not really. They give you longevity while they're in your body. And you're basically slowly suffering for hundreds of years until you eventually die and they take a new host.
Yeah.
And these, because of that, and they take the knowledge and everything from each host one to the other, so they become very smart, and that's how they've got so much technology, and they enslave people, and it's really interesting.
Yeah.
They want Earth. I think they were mainly wanting Earth to enslave it, but I think they also view them as a risk, and they wanted to blow them up at another point.
Yeah.
So it becomes this whole thing of they don't want them to know where Earth is, and yada yada yada, and they've got to defend Earth. By the end of the show, they have this is all spoilers for you, by the way, but it's way too long for you.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Nah, but at the end of it, you watch as society in this show, in the universe of the show, you watch as humanity becomes slowly builds up their own defenses, and they manage to get alien technology, and eventually they're able to make their own spaceships. They're made their own huge battle ships and stuff, so they can defend their own planet. Yeah. And that crosses over into Atlantis as well, where there's a while later on where they manage to get their ships to be able to travel from one galaxy to another, and it's this huge thing for them because I think they borrow technology from another alien race.
Well, I think might be a massive difference between that and Star Trek, right? Star Trek's more from the start. These are people that are out in space in ships, looking for different planets and trying to.
And my feeling, whenever I've watched them, is there's no purpose. Their whole purpose is exploration.
Yeah.
Each episode is its own thing.
Which would be very right, original series, 100%. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas Next Generation, it starts off with that, and again, like you're saying, it's got characters coming over from the original series. Each show's got the same. Everyone coming across and telling one big story. But Next Generation's this real sweet spot when it starts off. You think this is just a Star Trek show. You think it's going to be campy, but it just ends up all the characters go through arcs. It just becomes this massive thing with alien races and people becoming enemies you wouldn't think they were. And at the end, they figure out that the way they're doing things might not be the best way, and there's corruption even within the people that they work for.
Yeah.
Which is Starfleet. There you go. So it's pretty good. The story's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's just a lot of people start with the original series, and a lot of people that's what Star Trek is.
Yeah.
When there's a whole lot more to it.
Yeah.
Than what people may.
I would agree
think.
that because I try to encourage you to push through the first 5 seasons of Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly, and it's probably what I'd have to say for Star Trek would be, hey.
Yeah, and I understand that, but the thing is that I don't know, the real thing is that I feel I love origin stories normally, and I love things starting from nothing, and the idea of all civilization had is they had the technology from the 90s, and they had this big old Stargate wormhole thing that they were trying to figure out how to work. They managed to work it, and now they're going out and they actually cause issues. They go out and they're because they don't know anything, they end up making enemies and stuff like that, and that's a whole part of the show is they're trying to defend, and they're trying to not just right the wrongs, but also help people. Now they're suddenly feeling like they have to help because they've helped one group of people in one area, and now they have to help everyone or whatever, and as well as defend themselves. But I really want to push through this because Stargate SG-1, great, but I also I don't know. I want to explain more why I think Stargate Atlantis is better than that. Universe, I don't know. Stargate Atlantis, in my opinion, far better enemies. The bad guys in it are a little bit less corny, in my opinion. Actually, they sound more corny. They're not a parasite. They're just an alien race that evolved from this weird bug that sucks life from people, and they're able to literally suck the life out of people, and that's how they get nutrition.
Yeah.
Essentially, is they absorb all your life essence.
Yeah.
And they're able to heal real quick, and they live for ages because of it. And you literally age. It's like what you look like, what's happening as it sort of ages you, which is a scary thought. But then at the same time, as a kid, it was super scary. As an adult, you're sort of like, that's a bit corny. How's an alien race going to be able to suck like years of life out of you? You know, that's something
like
from
Princess Bride, man.
Yeah, that's something from the Princess Bride. That's not. Yeah, but when you're watching it and you immerse yourself in it, and you just decide, I'm not going to think about that too much. It does create, because they look creepy, they look gross, and it's the Wraiths, by the way. That's what they're called.
Yeah, I remember that. I think they're in the movie.
No.
Really?
No.
Oh, no, it was all Egyptian stuff in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that the Wraiths are, they look creepy and they sound creepy and they behave creepy, like scary anyway, and they just overpower people and suck their life out of them. And they're advanced as well. And also their ships are pretty cool. The idea of it, at least at the time, I don't know if it was used that much at the time, but their idea is that all their ships are living. Like their motherships they grow from seeds where they've basically implanted in someone and it grows from them. And there's a whole episode about that where someone got infected with something, went back to the main base and they started growing. This like weird like stuff just started oozing out of them, and it was like almost like some kind of weird fungal tree thing was growing. And then they realized that it was like destroying the whole building, and it was going to turn into a huge ship eventually. Yeah. Well, it was going to turn into this weird living tree thing that could be like turned into a ship if you knew how with the technology and stuff. But the idea with that though, the thing that was scary about that is that they were running out of food. So they put themselves to sleep with only a few of the Wraiths awake to watch over them. So they have, hundreds of thousands of them all in sleep and different motherships with different factions and stuff. And they wake them up. I think they wake up, if I remember correctly, they wake up like amounts of them at certain times, and they go, or they all wake up at certain periods anyway. But it's when the population builds up again in the galaxy. Yeah. They all wake up, they go out, they feed, and they're like that for however many years, and then they go back to hibernation and let the population go back up again, because there's just too many of the Wraith to just all be awake at the same time. Yeah. And all the planets, they've only got like a few hundred people on it, maybe a few thousand if they're lucky. So humans go there, they manage to go to this through another wormhole. They figure out that the people who made the wormholes actually, I think they went to Atlantis, like to this galaxy.
Is it a galaxy or is it Atlantis like on Earth?
You'll have to watch it.
Okay. So it's got
way too much for me to explain.
All right, yeah.
But they go to, the city is called Atlantis, where they go to.
And it's in space.
And it's on a planet.
But not Earth.
Not Earth.
Cool. Not underwater.
It was when they got there.
Is it the Atlantis that was on Earth, but it's now on a planet?
Yeah, it's like a big spaceship. Okay. It's like a big spaceship city.
Yep.
They figure out how to fly it later on.
Atlantis?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like a fighter thing. It's just at the very end of the show, they move it to Earth. That's how they say it. Just to ruin it for you.
Man,
you're
I can't watch Atlantis now.
Okay. So they managed to get there. I'm not going to explain the details, but then they go out exploring because they're scientists with a few soldiers and stuff just to protect them. And then there's a few few Wraith that attack the village that they were visiting, this random village. Yeah. And then they took some of their soldiers, and so they decided to go on a rescue mission. They tracked them down where they went. They went there and they ended up killing a whole bunch of Wraith to try and save them. And then they realized that this is the first 2 episodes. They set off this huge alarm that wakes up all the Wraith. And because this whole mothership was waking up, I guess, it woke up all the other motherships.
Yeah.
And they, because of that, they woke up all way too soon. So all the wraiths start fighting each other to try and get territory because there's not enough to go around. And they all are turning towards Atlantis because there's suddenly new people there, and they've got technology which a lot of the other races don't, and they're trying to figure out where they came from, because they actually I think they managed to interrogate some of them while they had them prisoner, and they realized that they came from Earth and it had billions of people, and they were like, billions, that's crazy. And so the whole show, the Wraith are trying to track, basically they're trying to figure out where Earth is, so they can go there and eat everyone.
Yeah. This sounds like Alien or something.
Yeah, a little bit,
Which I never realized.
Honestly, I think you would enjoy it if you watched it.
I think I would too.
Now, I think it's a little unfair that also we're going way too long here.
This is a bumper episode.
Yeah, we might have to talk about this again later.
What's unfair?
That Stargate has started later. So, like, it's newer.
Yeah.
Than a lot of Star Trek. And, basically that's all, really.
That's what I was going to touch on as well, because a lot of what you're saying, even though it's quite different, it feels like Star Trek's done some of it before.
Yeah.
But I guess you'd say that because Star Trek's it kind of invented a bit of the sci-fi genre that we see today, right? It's like where these ideas were first put into practice and these worlds was first created. And I think, this is going to sound weird, but the thing that's put me off most about watching Stargate back in the day was because it was the time period it was made in, late 90s, early 2000s. I can do any other time period. 60s Star Trek, sign me up. 80s, I love it.
I get that.
But it's the 90s and 2000s when they're like, oh, let's just use CGI, let's do all this. Yeah.
I will say there is some bad CGI.
Yeah.
But majority of their aliens and regular show up as all
still practical effects.
And makeup.
That's what I love.
I think that's probably one reason why the Wraith was so creepy.
Yeah.
Is because
they
literally they look like aliens.
Yeah,
they look like
cool.
creepy, weird, like alien things. It's all makeup.
Yeah.
So there's no CGI or anything. So that's probably why they look so creepy.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and why that show is probably. I mean, a lot of it hasn't aged well. Like ships and stuff like that, explosions in space. It's all CGI. It's all real bad.
Yeah.
But anything where they're running around on a planet trying to run away from a creepy wraith that's, has been abandoned on a planet and is starving and is eating, picking off random people from this little village and, this is like creepy episodes like that.
That sounds cool.
Where they're trying to track one down in the forest or something. And
that's awesome.
But anyway, stuff like that, there's no CGI, so you don't even notice.
I'll need to do it one day. Yeah, because I mean,
I also get the fact that I feel like, anyway, if you watch something that's old enough, it doesn't matter how bad it is, like how cringy or how bad the effects are. If it's old enough, you can appreciate it just because it's a classic.
Yeah.
But if it's from a certain time period where it's like, it's just bad.
Yeah.
Like where you can't just be like, it's old, so don't worry. It's like, it's just like, no, it should have been better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that a lot of stuff that falls around the late 90s to early 2000s.
That's where it usually sits. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do get that.
Yeah. Should we do some closing statements or something?
Yeah.
Make this official. Should I
Well, which one's better? Let's just say that.
I still like
We can't say.
We can't say. I haven't watched Stargate.
And you haven't even watched all the Star Trek.
I haven't even watched all the Star Trek. What the heck? But what I would say is, I guess I love Star Trek, and I think it's just because of the ideas it brings into play. This whole idea of people in the middle of nowhere, just off Earth, exploring the rest of the galaxy, meeting strange new places, getting arcs of storylines of different races and species and planets. And I've just always, I loved how it's always, as I said before, you can kind of pick and mix if you want the original sci-fi campiness, if you want more serious high-stakes adventures, if you want political, if you want, the Enterprise series is all about, I haven't watched it, but it's about them starting off getting into space in the first place.
Yeah.
So the more action-heavy movies. It's all like, whatever you want, you can find something.
There's a
if you want,
series in the universe for you to
yeah,
watch. Yeah.
if you want real stupid, not original PC-ness, watch the Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I don't know. I've just found.
You're really like. I feel like I'm not quite as salty about it as you.
Yeah, it's because I've loved everything else except that. I expected more.
I would do the same if like a Stargate came out now.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think I would probably be like, unless because it was really good, which it probably would be, except for Universe,
yeah, we won't talk about
which
that.
I haven't even watched, so I probably should.
I won't talk about Discovery, won't talk about Universe, they're just striked. But yeah, I don't know. It's just always had a special place in my heart, personally. And I feel like, I don't know, everything Star Trek stands for is kind of...
It's like the original sci-fi show.
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
So...
You can't really completely hate on it without...
I think it's a hard thing to say that like something else in its own genre is better than it because it is like the original.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like...
I will say, since in this last month, since we were going to talk about this, the newest Star Trek show, Star Trek Lower Decks, I binged it.
Is that a thing?
It's just came out this last year. It's animated.
Okay.
It's adult animation, so it's in the style of like Rick and Morty. But it's about it's Star Trek Lower Decks. It's about people not even on the bridge or the captain, and it's just about people down below, the people doing the most menial jobs,
comedy.
having to deal with everything that's going on the ship. It's a comedy. It's really like, it really just knows like, it knows what everyone thinks about Star Trek and plays to that. And it's literally one of my favorite things I've ever watched. I think that might be my favorite piece of Star Trek. So I'd recommend, if people want to get into Star Trek, and I reckon you should do this as well, give Next Generation a go, if you ever were going to.
Yeah.
And then also Lower Decks, if you can find that, because that's awesome.
Should I do my closing statements?
Yeah.
It's
Do yours.
gonna-
We're
Real long. I'm
super
so
bumper. We're sorry, guys. I mean, we're making up for the month of no content, right?
We have to go a bit longer. My closing statements, I think, I understand, like, I've just said a few positive things about Star Trek.
You did. I appreciate it. I've
Yeah.
said some positive things at Stargate, even though I
I think one of my closing statements is that, in my opinion, from what I've seen of Star Trek,
yeah.
it doesn't, although yes, it has a lot of the original, you know, like they thought of stuff first and that came out in their show, you know, and you're making connections from Stargate to Star Trek and being like, you know, they probably got, and they probably did. They probably did get a lot of inspiration from Star Trek. But I think the big thing that I feel with Stargate is that you're not watching a show. There's not a show for everyone in it.
Yeah.
There is one show. It seems to stick to its purpose. It's, you know, it's occasionally funny. Majority of the time, it's, you know, serious throughout it.
Yeah.
They do a good job of phasing between, but, you know,
Yeah.
they don't take themselves too seriously. But they keep that their goal through at least through Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis. It's consistent the whole way through, and I think I think they really, when they found their fan base, they just stuck with it, and they gave the fans what they wanted.
Became its own thing.
And I feel like although it's great having a show like Star Trek where it has all these cool stuff, I feel like that to me is probably the part where the thing that would prevent me from watching it a lot.
Yeah.
Is because though I appreciate that it exists, I appreciate what they've done for sci-fi, for sci-fi in general, but I feel like it's too much of everything for me to be able to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Well, I could be proved wrong if I watch it and I actually enjoy it. I don't know. Whenever I've tried to watch it or looked into it, it's always seemed like it just seems like they're trying everything, and it kind of feels like that from the episode to episode as well, where it's a different thing. It's, you know, this and that, and yeah. So I feel like that could be a positive for some people. That's just so much. There's heaps of variety. There's heaps of different shows in it. But to me, that's kind of a negative because I don't know.
You'd love to
I
be
prefer the slow build up to something.
a complete story.
Yeah, and I prefer that it's not like a complete story, you know.
Yeah.
But it is a complete. Like you feel like when you've watched to the end of Stargate SG-1, and then they use their big spaceship in Stargate Atlantis, you feel like
They've earned it.
like you've earned that, and you watch through and you've earned to watching that. It's like, yes, they're using their big mothership.
Yeah.
It's not really a mothership. It's tiny compared to a lot of, but it's big. It's still a big ship.
Enterprise style, or is it?
They kind of have their own style. Yeah, it's more. That's another thing, is it looks like something we'd smack together.
Coal together.
Just throw it together to get out there. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just a big ship. And I don't know. And every little thing they get, like if they manage to get, like at one point they managed to capture an enemy's mothership. I don't think they got to keep it for long though, because they ended up having to, like, I can't remember what they did. I think they had it for a few episodes and then they had to blow it up for something.
Okay, yeah.
But like, you feel good about it. You're like, yes, the humans have got like, the side of good anyway has got another mothership when the enemies have got like hundreds of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, my closing statement's going on for way too long, but the slow, steady race.
It's what you like in shows.
Is what I like
in sci-fi.
And sure, it's a little bit boring at the start, but it really is worth it when you get to the
And
end.
you recommend people jumping in straight to Atlantis, or?
I would say if you think that's going to be difficult watching an old show, SG-1.
Yeah.
And also, yes, there is nudity in the first season, which doesn't. That's the thing. The first season doesn't really match up very well with the rest of it, because I think they realised that their age, for a lot of their fans, was a little bit younger than what they initially thought it was going to be.
That's fun.
It's probably because it's different from the movie to the show.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they suddenly changed it up a lot,
Yeah.
and the characters became less serious. It became a little less corny, I think, and it started becoming. That's when they took off after that. But otherwise, if you think that's going to be difficult, I would suggest Atlantis to start off with.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1. We're going to say what's better.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Star
Stargate.
Wars.
Star
Star
Wars?
Trek.
What?
Yeah, but you know what I've realised?
I'm done. No, Star Wars is too much.
I
I like Star Wars.
both like Star Wars. There you go. But I mean, I've realised with this, why have we been talking about this as all years when neither of us have really gotten involved with the other franchise or world?
I don't know.
Why has this been such a thing? They both sound good.
They're just a huge commitment.
They're just both huge commitments. I haven't even watched all the Star Trek. You haven't even watched all the Stargate with your universe
Yeah, but
and your movies.
I kind of feel like that, because it's after. It's not like the origin of it.
Yeah.
It's after, and it only went for like 2 or 3 seasons or something, and it was really bad.
Yeah.
And so I haven't wasted my time with it. And also, I don't know where to watch it.
Yeah.
I haven't bothered trying to track it down.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch it illegally.
It does sound like people have just forgotten about, like, no one nowadays will know Stargate's even a thing, really.
Yeah, whereas Star Trek has kept its name.
Yeah.
That's
Even
the
if it is
thing.
with Discovery.
But yeah, Stargate has sort of been forgotten about. And it is sad, but it's it's also understandable. I think
It's probably more of a cult following now, right? Like
probably.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I will also say that what's his name?
MacGyver.
Big, famous. Yeah, MacGyver's in this SG-1.
yeah. Crosses over from the
what's
original
very funny?
MacGyver
If
series.
anyone who's watched MacGyver, which I have, he hates guns in MacGyver, and he absolutely loves them in SG-1. Just saying, he's just the polar opposite character.
He's a knife guy in MacGyver, yeah.
No, he's a bombs guy in MacGyver, but but no,
Did
he's
he
like
have a pocket knife?
yeah,
Yeah.
but he
Swiss Army knife.
he always he wouldn't touch a gun.
Yeah, that's right.
He didn't like
That was a good show.
SG-1, he's a soldier. He's been a soldier like his whole life. And yeah, he just wouldn't go anywhere without a gun.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. But in Atlantis, I will say if there's any fans of Aquaman, I guess. Aquaman.
Khal Drogo, yeah.
What's the actor's name? It's Momoa.
Oh,
at the
Momoa.
end. Is that
Yep.
his last name?
Yep. Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He is in Atlantis, and he is a main character.
Is
And
anyone a full-on Jason Momoa fan? Like, I think he's all right, but do people watch movies because of Jason Momoa?
I feel like
A lot of
people,
chicks, right?
I feel like it might help you push through because it's a familiar face,
Yeah.
And he is also one of the coolest characters in Atlantis.
Okay.
He doesn't come in until like the second season though.
Yeah.
But he is in like every episode after that.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Thanks for listening through this nearly hour-long super bumper month-long special episode, guys. And we probably haven't even covered everything. I'd love to talk about Star Trek some more, and you'd love to talk about Stargate some more.
Yeah.
So we'll see if this ever comes back down the road. But yeah, thanks for listening. We'll be back next time.
Next time.
We don't have our little dice or we're not going to roll for the list this time. We won't do it for the next episode.
I think next time we just talk.
I think we talk. Well, what I'd love to do, instead of just rolling next time, I'd love to actually watch something, the two of us. Yeah. Whether it be a movie that we watch, a new one or an older one, or a classic, or even, I mean, I've said it before, but I've got like a stack of 100 black and white horror movies that I got off Amazon like years and years ago. Why don't we just pick one of those and just watch it and talk about it? Let's just do something different for the next episode, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon.
And then we'll get back to our regular rolling.
Cool.
But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. If you have any recommendations for episodes or what we should talk about, just flick them through. We're on Twitter. You can email us. What's our email?
I don't know.
collectaneoveverything@gmail.com. That's
have
probably
we got an email?
Yeah.
I didn't know we had an email address.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
collectaneoveverything@gmail.com. And we will see you guys next time.
Sweet. We made it under an hour.
Yeah. After I've edited it, we'll probably be here. Oh, we could be cutting it close. I only put music on. We'll be good.
Yep. I've just got to apologize again. I'm sorry.